Hope your February is off to a better start than mine. I mean, the truth is, the world isn't ending, the sky isn't falling down, but it's been tough. So let's get into it. This is my reading vlog for February, which is basically like a recap of what I did in January and what I'm hoping to accomplish in February. I will already say that I am not off to a good start. I don't know if you've ever fallen victim to DTM, but I always seem to be doing too much. So that's why I have simplified my background. I'm hoping that this will help me, moving forward. But also, I just wanted to mention that not to be a broken record, I've been sick on and off and just haven't been able to accomplish all of the things that I wanted to accomplish, but I still did stuff. So I'm going to count that as a win. I am recording today in my hot pajamas because that's how things be. I just finished doing my book reviews that I completed in January. So I'll just go through those real quick, but those will be, posted as shorts. And so I guess let's go ahead and kind of start with the recap. So in January, I had 4 books that I wanted to read, and I completed 3 of them. So let's talk about the one that I didn't finish, why, and I'll be continuing to read it in the month of February. So what I did not finish was The Monkey King, and not because it isn't wonderful. I've been very much enjoying it, but like I said, I've been sick on, and crazy enough, one of the symptoms that I had when I was, fighting my symptoms was burning eyes. I don't know if that's like a thing. I've never had burning eyes before, but that's a thing. And so it was really hard for me to do a lot of visual reading. And so I was very slow with this. The font is already really small in it because you'll see in some of the footage that I'm using like magnifying glasses and things like that. But ultimately, the reason why I wasn't able to just fly through this because it's really good and amazing. I can't wait to review it, but I don't review until I finished it. Anyway, the whole point was that I physically couldn't do it because of my burning eyes. And so I'm going to continue that in the month of February. The other things that I did actually complete in the month of January, I finished Wielder's Curse. That was an overall star rating of 5. Really enjoyed it. Looking forward to the next one. I did American Sign Language for kids. I believe I gave that one a 4. I really enjoyed it as well. It's helping me on my journey to learn American Sign Language. And then I also read Built Up Secrets, which was an overall star rating of 5. I'm not probably going to jump into the next book of that series, but I did go ahead and get it because I did enjoy it. Romance is not really my jam, but every now and then I get in a mood and why not? So that is what I did in January. Let's talk about what I'm trying to do in February. So the first thing is I had to post, I mean, I didn't have to, but I really felt like I had to post something. And I'll just put like a little clip here. And you may or may not have seen it on social media, but basically, because it's Black History Month, which apparently people are, getting rid of, but it doesn't matter whether they recognize it or not. I'm still going to do it no matter what. I just wanted to focus on some books either by or with, Black characters. I don't think that's outrageous. So this one particular book, I was just like, what in the ham? So I'm not gonna go into that. If you YouTube short, Instagram, I think I even put it on TikTok. I'm not even on TikTok really, but I put it. So if you want to check that out, there's a link below for it. Anyway, so with that said, what I am going to be trying to read in the month of February, and again, I'm not doing a challenge this year, so I'm not going to be, feeling any particular pressure to do more than I feel I can do. Right now, I've started The Girl of Flesh and Metal, which I am getting a late start. I'm recording this video on February 9th, and I literally read like the first 2 pages of this book maybe a day or two ago. Like, it's just been so tough. Aside from me being sick, I had to take my husband to the hospital. Life, y'all. And there's some things going on with my family. And if you are praying people, I would appreciate your prayers. If not, I also appreciate good vibes and good thoughts. I'll be sending prayers and thoughts your ways as well. But just know that it's been a struggle for me. So me getting this video out is an accomplishment. So that is what I've actually started reading in the month of February. I'm excited about looks like, Black female cyborg, why not, there's more to it, but anyway. So some of the other books that I'm hoping to get to in February, mind you, I still have to finish one from January. I did pick up a picture book because I figured it'd be short. It'll help me kind of get through some things. This one is called Black Girl Rising. So I'm going to try to get to that. The Secret Library, I'm going to try to get to that. And then also Ellie Engle Saves Herself. This cover really caught my eye just because on the cover it actually says Ellie Engle saves the world, and she's crossed out the world and it says herself. So anyway, these are the things that I'm hoping to maybe get to. So anyway, that's that. Let's get into the vlog. So basically what we're going to be looking at are me trying to complete my January reads. I was hoping to have some footage of me also starting my February reads, but like I said, I'm off to a late start. Let's get into it. Here is where I am obviously doing a Kindle book. And again, I am going to be doing like some domestic stuff around. You guys have seen me load and unload my dishwasher before, so this isn't new. But at this point, I am still reading Wielder's Curse. And so that's what's playing while I'm addressing some of this. So this will just kind of give me an opportunity to talk about the book more in depth than like what's in my review. So it is the second book in the series. I went off on a rant in the January vlog. I'm not going to do that this time, but I do just want to talk about like what I appreciate about this story. So it's I the magical system in this is seems to be evolving. Like it was already cool and interesting and intricate in the first place, but this one little thing about this character that makes her different from like the other magical users, which is also kind of creating a divide between her and another character. I'm trying to talk about it without giving spoilers, is basically just like this component that you didn't really like expect. I mean, you could sort of kind of see it coming, but not to the degree that it ends up developing. And I mentioned last month that this book does bring in this idea of like slavery and servitude, where as I started to read the book, I thought it was just other people, but then I paid attention to what I was actually like listening to. And so there's a particular group of magical wielders like in this world, in order to basically keep the spotlight off of them, have enslaved other magical users. So they're the ones who are like facilitating and perpetuating this. Like they are, I was just like, whoa, I didn't really grasp that at first. I just thought it was people who didn't have power, enslaving people with power to like do things for them. But the only reason they're able to do that is because their own people are doing it. And it's just like so many like relatable qualities to like the real world in that kind of scenario. But so anyway, you get to see kind of that dynamic coming together. Another thing that's happening in this book is that there's several different relationships that are kind of developed. And I would say that for me, the unexpected is what's really kind of like ruling this like second book. Just a lot of things that you just didn't expect to happen. And so again, this is not giving too much of a spoiler away, but there is a dynamic between, a shipmate and their captain. And so in the first book, the captain, ended up kind of being the bad guy. I don't want to give too much away, but so the captain that they have now, you kind of get this sense that the main character is really leaning on this new captain to like guide her through all of the stuff that she has going on, but he doesn't really understand everything. And then at some point, she reveals it to him, and the results of that were just really unexpected. And so it's not like good or bad. Like I don't want to like say what it is, but it was just like I don't know. I just didn't know what I expected to come out of that. And the character herself, when she's doing it, didn't really know what to expect of that. And so that's just like one like relationship dynamic that you're just like, whoa, I didn't really see that coming. And then there's this whole idea of her kind of, trying to have like this father figure or someone to be a father because her whole father situation is just a hot mess from like the first book. And then this person who she kind of resents is just like saying, you don't have to like me, but I'm going to be here anyway. And you're like, how do you really process that? And then someone who she's trying to love, it's like she has to keep secrets. And so there's just all of these different relationship dynamics that in a different genre, I would probably be bored and annoyed with them. That's my own issue. Like, that's not for other readers. That's like me. But seeing these relationship dynamics in this world of like magic and trials and things, it's just so impactful for me. So, anyway, that this is just me listening to the Wielder's Curse while I, again, am just like addressing some domestic things. So, let's listen to some music for a few seconds and then we will move on to the next thing. Okay, so that was that. So now we are going to see some of my efforts to try to actually read through the Monkey King book. I think this was a day where my eyes weren't burning too much. And so, um, yeah, let's get into it. All right, time to get caught up on some reading. Okay, here we go. All right, so clearly pajamas is a theme. I don't know if you've picked up on that yet. I feel like I warned you guys that you're going to see me in like pajamas a lot. So anyway, cozying up, reading it. And again, I am really enjoying this book. I don't want it to seem like the fact that it's taking me so long to get through it is because it's not good. It's amazing. Like I knew the story because I've seen so many different versions and iterations of it, on TV and film and things like that. But to be able to read it like this, um, so the original story was called Journey to the West, and it was written as a novel. So this is a graphic novel adaptation of that original novel. So it's really cool to see like where like the original stories like came from and everything. And I just love some of the art, which I'm going to show you guys some of this. I'm not going to show you too much. I don't want to make the artist mad because they want you to get the book, but like this one character, just like the detail in his, I don't know if you guys can see that, but it's just so like intricate. I mean, even on the cover, like you can see the monkey and like I love the fact that he looks like an actual monkey and not like a half monkey, half man or a monkey man or something like that. Even though there are versions of him like that I do love and I think they work great on screen. But for this, I'm glad that he's like a real monkey. But it's just I think I mentioned this before, but seeing it in this form and reading this adaptation, I always thought that he was the one, like Wukong was the one creating all of the mischief and problems and stuff, but he's really not. I mean, don't get me wrong, he has his times where it's like, why did you do that? But there's other characters that are like just as mischievous as him. They make like wrong turns here and there and stuff like that. I think we all, for those of us who are, familiar with the story of Sun Wukong, is that of course he messes up and gets himself locked in a mountain for 500 years. And so we just kind of keep dwelling on that, but we fail to see that he's not the only one who makes mistakes. And there are several times when he does kind of, redeem himself. I mean, he isn't perfect, obviously, but I think it's just amazing seeing kind of his arc up and down and stuff like that. Um, and I do whenever he gets a chance to be around his fellow monkeys. I love seeing that dynamic. Let me show you some more art real quick. But yeah, I just really wanted to make sure that people knew that me taking so long to read this story is not a reflection on the story at all. It's just how it be sometimes. So yeah. It's also interesting to see as mischievous and tricky as he is. the other gods and immortals, they're even like more tricky. I mean, the difference with him is he's not trying to hurt nobody, but they're like intentionally just being like mean and like snobs to him. Like he's asking them, "Hey, can I do this?" And they're like, "No." And he's like, "Well, fine, I'll do it anyway." Like, I don't know. It's just these are things that I've always known, but I think it's been so long since I went back and like looked at like the original story that I've been caught up and just, this persona that's become really popular. So I'm really enjoying seeing that balance. Okay, anyway. I think I'm going to stop for now. I'm going to keep reading but stop recording. So I feel like we needed a little kind of reprieve. We listened to some music. As you could see from the image that popped up, I was listening to the Built of Secrets story while I was having my walk, trying not to get hit by cars because people are inconsiderate. So yeah, we are just gonna keep going. I think we have another bit of footage of me just, taking care of some domestic stuff. So let's see what we got. All right, so it's funny, I don't have any footage of me going through the American Sign Language book. That one was really tough. I'm going to use this opportunity. I'm actually listening to um, Built of Secrets, but I'm going to talk about ASL, the book for beginners. Anyway, I don't know why I'm fumbling so much. So, because my eyes were burning, I had to basically reread some of that book. I wanted to get through the content. So I did use the text to speech, but of course, when you do that, you don't get to see any of the images. It just breezes right through them. And so I did place like bookmarks wherever I would like pick up and leave off whatever, so I could go back and like look at some of the images compared to what I had, heard, which I do not recommend. It's not a great way to read a book, but one thing that I did notice is because a lot of it was me kind of listening to it first and then going back and then looking at the images and comparing the images to the description, was that I did have some difficulty processing the images. Most of them were great. Well, first of all, there were a lot of images. So I just want to say it was very helpful, like visual support there. But some of the images, when I would compare them to the description, like what I heard and what I saw didn't always seem to match up. But that could just totally be because I went a ridiculous way about consuming it in the first place. So I do kind of mention that in my book review because just in case someone else is like looking at the images and thinking, oh, these are, I mean, they're good, they're helpful, but sometimes they're a little confusing. Not all the time, most of the time they're great. But like for instance, when you get to like the end of the book and it's doing like the letters and numbers of the alphabet, some of them I was just like, is the hand moving like this or is it moving like this? Like I couldn't completely like visualize what was supposed to be like accurate there. And the description for some reason just really didn't clarify. So even though it's still 100% like a helpful resource, great for, beginners working with kids and things like that, I am probably going to be relying more on like YouTube videos or signing up for like an online class or something like that to really give me the support that I want with learning the sign language. But I still think the book was worth reading. And again, I just want to be clear that I went about consuming it in a really weird, kind of ridiculous way because my eyes were burning and it was hard to look at stuff. I mean, I don't know how to like explain that really. Like, I could look at the TV screen for a little while, but even with that, I was walking around my house wearing sunglasses. Like that's why I was able to look at the TV screen. My same prescription that I have, like in my reading glasses or in my sunglasses. So I would put on my sunglasses and look at the TV screen, and that's how I was able to watch TV. But when it came to like reading, I was just like, it hurts. And this is with me still like going to like work and stuff. Obviously, I didn't work when I was sick, so I did miss a lot of work. But when I was healthy enough to work, I might still sometimes have like those burning eyes, but I still had to like, get the job done. And so um this may, I don't know if this is like good or bad, like what kind of impression I'm giving of like reading, but this is like I enjoy reading. Like this is part of who I am. If I couldn't read, I don't know that I would be satisfied just being able to like watch TV and listen to music, even though I love music and TV. So don't get me wrong, I'm not shortchanging that like at all. But like for me, reading books is part of my everyday. It's part of my entertainment consumption. People spend, hours on social media, on TikTok and things like that. And that's them. Reading is part of that for me. So it may seem like I'm going through a lot of effort just to read some books, but I want to. It's not like I feel pressure to do it or anything like that. I'm not at this point doing anything that I don't want to do. So anyway, I just thought I'd point that out. So even though I'm sitting here, I'm cleaning my sink. I'm listening to Built Up Secrets, but remember, I was also trying to get in some other stuff as well. So I wanted to just capture some quick footage because I realized I haven't done that in a while. I really got to just get used to doing that for these vlogs. Anyway, I actually have completed pretty much all of my reading for the month of January, but I got behind on my Monkey King graphic novel because craziest thing, I've been really sick. That's not new. But when I was sick, for some reason, my eyes were burning. I know that sounds crazy. And so I literally had to just stick to, I couldn't even read my Kindle. I was just listening to the voice to text, which I don't usually like to do that like all the time. Like I'll do it while I'm doing other stuff, but I like to read. But I couldn't. So anyway, I can now, and I've been reading, but I realized that I wasn't recording anything. So I'm gonna get back to it, and I'm gonna turn my little thing on. Like I said, the font on this thing is really small. I don't really need this light, but I do need the magnifier. So I'm gonna read a little bit. There is no shame in using adaptive equipment, y'all. I am not elderly by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm also not a young child either. So like I'm somewhere in between and I recognize that and I'm okay with that. I don't walk around with a magnifying glass all day long because I'm like blind or can't see or something. But if I was, why wouldn't I if it's going to help me accomplish my goals and live life? Like I don't understand why people feel like it's bad or wrong or whatever to like need help or use supports or things like that. Like I don't have a problem with it. If you have a problem with it, that's you. So I just felt like it was important to say that because I remember recently coming across someone who was doing something. I'm not even gonna really say what it was, but it was just really kind of like, why are you doing that? Like you're making that way more complicated than it needs to be. Here is something designed to help you do that. Why don't you do it? And they're like, well, I don't want people to stigmatize me. And I'm like, I don't care about people in that way. I mean, like, if this is what I need to do to be able to do what I want to do, I'm not going to care what someone else thinks. I mean, I don't know. And I get it. Not everyone lives in a place where differences are accepted. And so I'm not really judging. I'm just saying that I get if you do that because you have to, like, to survive. But if you're doing it and you don't have to because of survival, but you're doing it because of a self-conscious thing, again, my heart goes out to you. Prayers, good thoughts, that you'll be able to see that you don't have to do that. Like, you're perfectly worthy person of existence, with or without, different abilities and things like that. All right, so I think this is a fairly short reading vlog. Like I said, life has been happening. And so, how did you do with your January reading goals? Did you read anything at all in January? I know for some people, reading is not a priority, and that's okay. But I'm always interested to see, if people are reading. Um, have your eyes ever burned? Like, am I the only one that this happens to? I am not here to, like, spread conspiracies or get people riled up or anything like that. But I will say, that sometimes after you've had a virus like the flu or COVID or something like that, it does change your body, and age has nothing to do with it. And I really believe that each time that I do have, like, a really, like, severe viral sickness, it changes me. Like, my eyes burn now. I remember, like, a decade or so ago, I started having sensitive teeth when I had never had sensitive teeth before, and it was after I got over the flu. So just throwing that out there. I do think that we all change as we get older and things like that, but I also feel like some changes kind of happen to us as the result of just being survivors. And so while I'm glad that my eyes aren't burning right now, I don't mind having that be a side effect to show that I survived something. And again, I'm probably making this way too deep. Anyway, um, but seriously, are you guys setting up any type of reading goals for the month of February? I'd love to know. And until next time, guys, stay safe. Keep reading.
Hey, guess what? If you like what you see, you can totally subscribe to this channel. You could also give it a like and leave me a comment. I would totally love that. Okay, bye bye.